Hey guys, I'm going to do a real quick rundown of user interface analysis with Windows. And it's very simple. What the problem with Windows so let's look, I'll give you an example right here. Let's see. I hit play, and now I hit. Oh, I can't hit the desktop. You know why? This thing is thinking, and it's tightly coupling the process with the Windows. Okay, so like I still can't get the desktop. It's still thinking. It's like what happens? I can't even move the windows around, right? This thing's thinking. Oh, okay, it's done thinking. Okay, it works. So that's how it is. See, I'll edit the file so it'll compile it right. I'll be compiling right now. See, it's compiling now. Oh, I can't minimize my desktop. Oh, I can't minimize this window. I can't even get to this one. I can't close it. Right? That's because the process. Windows is a very old operating system. See, now it's done thinking. It'll operate. A very old operating system. They thought there would be some reason why you'd want to couple, the window itself with the process inside of it. And I understand it's shut down. There's some things, but like minimize or change the size of it, or alt tab to other windows, or see your desktop. Those should not be tightly coupled with the process of this thing. I know it'd take a couple thousand hours to decouple it, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a Herculean task. It would be a monumental task to be able to, take that out. I mean, there's only a couple thousand hours for like a company like Microsoft Windows for something that's very major. How many people want to look at the desktop? They can't. So there's like this thing's thing. How many people want to like tab around? And it messes up the tabbing, and you can't move the windows around. It's just horrible, right? That's it. It's just bad user interface, and it take a couple thousand hours to fix, and it would be worth it for thing. And no, this one will only take a couple hours to fix. So forced alt tab here. I ran across this in Unity. League of Legends forced alt tab abusively. There's a lot of programs that are useful programs that'll alt tab you abusively. So we were just talking about like how this compiles. Watch, I'm gonna change this thing here. I'm gonna go to this window, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna start typing, and like oh, I didn't hit it right. Okay. So basically, what happens is sometimes you get forced alt tabbing. It's like we call it window focus, forced window focus here. Hit play. I go over here. What it will do is while it's compiling. I think right now it's just gonna see it compiles. I don't need to look at this loading bar right now, right? I could be editing code here. Check. Let's edit code. Edit code. Oh, that's cool. I could be here editing code, but now I understand when it forces you to go play the thing, but like it's abusive to be able to force me to like watch a compile bar, right? That's a Unity problem. Unity can just turn that off in their thing. One, save, and then go, and alt tab back here. So anyway, you can see how like forced alt tabbing. Instead of like forcing alt tab, what you should do is you should have a notification. This window would like your attention. You should be always shifting the control into the user's hands. You should not be taking control out of the user's hands. Because much like HOW 9000, the user knows more than the computer a lot of times. So I'm going to run it. We're back here typing and stuff. Type. And then what happens instead of forced alt tabbing, it should be, hey, a notification thing is, hey, this window is requesting your assistance. This is absurd, right? And it gets even more absurd here. I'll show you the more absurd variety, but let's copy something that I don't even care about right now. Here, let's try copy for Wombla. Let's try copying these things directly onto something I don't even care about. Paste. And we're back here typing. We're here. We're typing. Let's see. Typing I. We're typing a bunch of I's here. Okay, it's eventually gonna go. If I know my thing right, you like to see your word processor. Okay, and it's like I don't know. What happens is basically, let's just I'm typing the word processor. It might take a while to pop up the thing, but like it's gonna actually ask. Here we go. So you can ask the question, would you like to replace these, I think. Let's see here. Why is taking so long before it asks to replace? What's going on? Copy. Hello? More details. What's going on? Huh. Oh, it'll ask like skip, overwrite, and stuff. And if you're typing in your word processor, like I don't type this. When you're typing your word processor and you hit like an S, If it alt tabs you immediately there, you'll hit skip. If you like hit O because it says hotkey, it'll overwrite. Like forced alt tabbing is bad. Okay, we're just running through stuff. We don't need to like the exact sample. So we want to quarantine files. This one's actually really interesting. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Basically, it's effective the sandbox things you don't know off the internet. Like you have user authorization control on Windows, and what happens is it asks you, do you want to run it? Yeah, of course I want to run it. That's why I clicked it. I want to run like some Winamp or something off the thing. But like if it's gonna host my files, like or delete them or erase them, right? Or like something, I should have a ability to, let's say, hit a quarantine. Let's quarantine this file on my system. So what a quarantine on your system would do is it runs a process. One, on load, it loads from your actual file system. File system. Your disk. AKA your disk. It loads off your disk like it normally does. But on save, it opens up a whole new virtual directory on your file system. So if it was like to open up like say C Windows system file .dll whatever, it opens it. Okay, fine, it reads from it, whatever, it read from that. Okay, then what happens is when it goes to write at it, instead of going to C/Windows system file whatever, instead it would go to C/my weird file I download off the internet name, whatever the name's called. We'll say Winamp. We'll just be Winamp, right? Then we go Windows system file. So it would write to that, and then every subsequent read, from that same file comes from its virtual file system. So it's in effect, it would every single program would run exactly the same as it does now. It just can't intercommunicate between like applications, right? So if you want to intercommunicate between applications, you would pick not quarantine this, right? You wouldn't quarantine it. Every file would be quarantined basically for new users, and they would go. I mean, like, would never necessarily new user, but like the option to quarantine would be there for people who know what they're doing. And it's like, oh, user interface control, or maybe like even by default, you have to run it things. I wouldn't say by default you have to, but by default, like if user interface control says, oh, this is not a registered thing, it has no signature. If you see this file, it's like, this is a warning to run this file. You're like, yeah, dude, I run like I run new image program all the time. I'm always running like FileZilla or whatever. It's like no big deal. I run it, But this quarantine thing, it serves many different purposes. So let me explain like why this quarantine would be good. One, it's a virtual sandbox. It'd be hard to get viruses, so you can't get viruses. You can't get viruses easy. And how can't you get a virus easy? Well, if you can't delete your file systems off your files, you can't modify all the system files you're running on, then it can't hurt your actual system. It can't hurt your system at all. You literally cannot. Your system cannot be hurt at all, except by like fancy macro programs. You could maybe disable the idea for even be able to access macro. So like a sandbox and quarantine files could not macro. No mouse spoofing or keyboard spoofing. This might be harder to do, but I'm sure Microsoft could really drill down and give it a robust like attempt to like disable spoofing and keyboard spoofing. And then this would be like a little combat. It's a winnable fight. It would just take a little bit of time. But that's so like so you really can't get a virus. The only thing you can do is maybe like you can do key logging, obviously. Well, you can figure out a way to maybe disable that a little bit, but like you can definitely file read like your passwords and stuff. Like Windows might have to like so like there's a couple caveats, okay? So like special cases. A, you have to like deal with that. B, watch for key logging. That might be difficult. And then C, what did I just say? Quarantine. I mean, the key logging is not that. Oh, password. Guard password. Of like. I was talking about the forced alt tab. I just freaking just gave it. It said, "Would you like to copy, overwrite, skip?" Right? And like the forced alt tab caused me just to pick something random. Okay, that proves my point there. That was there. So like we just got like forced alt tabbing options, uh, file copy options. Terrible. So I was typing like overwrite. It happens all the time, man. It's like there's why is there even a hotkey there? At least take the hotkey out. Well, then you're mouse clicking. You have to take out forced alt tabbing to fix that. You know, all it has to do is have an alert like thing over there. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to this virtual sandbox. This is really important. Three quarantine can't virus. So other than like read, like the basic thing behind a quarantine is you read from your system files or whatever files you have. You know, it could be like some my documents or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't write my documents. It writes like my weird file download off the internet name documents or whatever. You know. So it loads and then saves, and that's your core thing of a sandbox. The second thing is quarantine files. You want kind of like don't want them to have the smooth mouse presses and keys, or they'll like jump down here and type out like command and like like PowerShells and they'll type like URLs and download stuff, and then like key logging you have to say like this is like does not need to have be 100% good because right now it's not 100% good right now anyway, and it does not have to be 100% good. This has to be just an attempt, and then guard password calculation does not even have to be 10%. You just gotta guard like like your you guard like like your Firefox and Chrome passwords, because the idea is you're still when you download a virus on the internet now with this quarantine, it won't be able. You'll still be able to reboot your computer. It'll be like a Commodore 64. Every time you reboot your computer, it's gonna be okay. You'll literally be unable to hose your computer if you run everything in quarantine. You can download everything you want off the internet, and it will be impossible to destroy your computer. Okay, that's what quarantine does. Okay, this is what this quarantine thing does. I'm suggesting. You load from your files and you save to like some random files. And what's really beautiful about it, the beauty of it, is that like if a virus shows, you see what files it's touching visibly. You don't have to dig through the log file, the Windows log. And the Windows log file, that's another user interface nightmare in itself. But like I'm just going through the major things, the three really major things, You have to decouple the window from the process. You saw earlier when it's thinking. Here, let's get thinking. Max time, time. So it's due, and it's compiling now. Oh, it's not compiling. Well, anyways, it'll start thinking now. See, it's compiling. Okay, I can't look at my desktop. Okay, I can't minimize this. And like if I go to that, it doesn't. Like it's like I can't see. I can't even see it right now. Like I want to tab that. I can't tab that window. Right. Okay. So like just decouple. You have to decouple the frame from the process. I can't get there. Forced alt tabbing should not be an option. We already showed how like the file copying is terrible. How like you lose focus, you lose a lot of work. People are losing a lot of productivity. Windows was designed in the 80s. It's a really old thing. It's designed before the internet, before anybody knew what proper user interface is. Like right now, I don't think a lot of even major companies like Google, Apple, or anybody knows their user interface. So I'm gonna run these this series, and obviously the quarantine files. Like, dude, like this is awesome. If you can put the quarantine files, this would probably take about like 5 to like 20,000 hours worth of work, but it would be awesome. It would be awesome. Windows would like literally never, ever, ever, ever die. You could never have anybody who gets a Windows computer that dies. And obviously the registry, it's the same thing with the registry. When it loads the files, saves, it would register files and registry. Anything you load and save on the disk, it should all be like local to the its own thing. Using the registry as some sort of like copy protection, like hacky copy protection by Windows. That's terrible. Like, let's move out of that era. That's why people don't want to buy Windows, because all these viruses and stuff. You fix this, people will be buying. Okay, so both the registry and files has this thing where it loads off your actual thing and then saves to its own whatever weird application you downloaded. Then what happens is you literally cannot get a virus that will shut your computer down. Maybe not shut your computer down. You cannot get a virus that will like make your computer not boot. It'd be impossible to get a virus where your computer does not boot, because they can't even write the like automatic startups and stuff. And this quarantine is like an option people can do when they load up the files they do. Like obviously you can still run your you're downloading files the traditional way and still get yourself a virus, right? And then you tell people, well, you don't be an idiot, run them in quarantine. Everybody will say run everything in quarantine, right? Unless you know what you're doing. So you can't get, you literally cannot get in trouble. There's absolutely zero way. There's a like 100% no way of Windows like not being able to boot, not being able to get virus, not slowing down. You like literally, this would make it Windows impossible to get a virus. The caveat is the viruses it does get or a different type of virus. Like it would be like if you say like you if Windows doesn't lock down the keyboard spoofing, maybe something could keyboard spoof, but not many things would be able to do that. So the odds of like something that is dirty, like it's be like a lot less, a lot more clean, and you can look out for that, right? Like the antivirus could have an easier time, less things to do with things. So and eventually like I'm pretty sure Microsoft can 100% stop spoofing a keyboard like that. This is a goal they can do. Key logging, a little harder to stop 100%, and right there it might be stealing passwords and stuff. It's still bad. It's not as bad as like your Windows crashing and you spend a week to get everything back up to the thing, and then obviously the password locations. That's a problem too, and but I mean like but like the thing is, it's like better. I always say like in a world with if you have a problem that has no perfect solution, a better solution than what you have is still better than nothing, right? Because you hear a lot of people like, oh, there's no way to solve, like the touring test, or I mean, like the traveling salesman. There's no way to solve it like really well. So it's like, why try? It's like, well, we can say, well, you can go to all the closest file. You just go to the closest places. That's not bad. Just place the place close. And oh, you know what? You got a little cluster to do that. So like you can like it's might not be a perfect solution, but you have like some solution that's better than nothing, right? You know what I'm saying? And this is better than what we have now because like what I'm providing here, this quarantine thing is a way is like it's a progress to get to a place where viruses are basically impossible to get. And as soon as you launch this quarantine, the first thing you do is the first benefit you get for Windows is you people will not be able to get stuff stuck on their startup. Not that won't slow their PC down. You can't get stuff. You can't like corrupt your files. You can't delete your files off your thing. Like all the power. Even though Windows, since Windows is a legacy system, you have to still let all this stuff run, right? You're still letting all this stuff run with all these global permissions. You did not like just get permissions on like millions of different programs people wrote on Windows. You can't do that. It's possible to like lock down every single program everybody ever wrote anywhere. Like you just can't, it's not possible. What you can do is say, provided that every program out there can do anything they want, well, let's give them a new rule set that when they do that thing, here's what it does. So it would load when it loads off the original file system. Then when it saves to its own local thing. Then when it loads again, it loads to a local thing. It doesn't know the difference. But what this does is it shuts down inter-app operability when you're running quarantine. If you want interoperability, just don't run a quarantine. It's trustable. This is for untrustable applications. So there's like an untrustable application would be unable to host your file system at all. It's super powerful. This is something that needs to be done. It would take probably Microsoft only like 5,000 to like I don't know, maybe like 50,000 hours if they don't really know what they're doing, and they have a team that could do this. This would make Windows super powerful. This quarantine, that's obviously you want to like lower this keyboard spoofing, the key logging, and password location. And those are special cases. They don't have to be 100%. Just the virtual sandbox alone of the files and the registry would be like enough to make it so you just can't get your file system hosed by any virus. Like people would be using Windows and they'd be like, oh my god, I can download anything I want off the internet right now. Like I don't have, it's like stuff that would be trustable. It's like right now if something's like 99% trustable, you're like, well, it's a 1% chance that like this system looks like a Linux site that looks really trustable. There's a 1% chance there's a virus on it, And then like so some people that's okay, but there's other people that like they have so much on their system. It's like, well, I have a 1% chance that I might have to take 2 months to reinstall my system, right? It's like it's like, hey, it's a 1% chance. I mean, I'll give you $1 million, but like it's a 1% chance it'll destroy the entire planet. It's like, oh, what's the chance that the planet getting destroyed? I mean, that's what's 1%, right? It's like it ends up being like what more important, like it's like it'll be like I'll give you $1. It's only 1% chance the world will get destroyed. Okay, well, how many times do you want to take that chance? I don't know, 1,000 chance. Boom, you just destroyed the world, right? It's a 1% chance, but it's like the consequences are huge, right? So like when you have it so you can't get hosed at all by using quarantine, aka sandboxing of stuff you downloaded, like user level sandboxing. Like a moron could click quarantine quarantine. Actually, you have set quarantine by default because Windows already has user access control. If you download stuff from the internet and says it doesn't understand this, it should be on quarantine by default. You should have to have the advanced options to be able to say, I know this, I trust this. You write like a little like a disclaimer. I waive all rights to like liability by like running this file. I know this file could blow my computer up. Okay, here's my name, social security numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like the part like you make for like noob users like automatically quarantining stuff, dude. Like this would be like a heaven for like people. But anyway, um, and then there's always a fourth one. Like you should be able to output sound out of like multiple devices. Right now, I have to choose which device, and if I'm outputting sound, I can't record it. And I understand that's like a fallback from like people don't want stuff downloaded off of YouTube, but you can straight up download off of YouTube like by like recording it on like OBS or like Streamlabs and then tracking it out with a video editor. I mean, like it's not hard to download music. I mean, like this file protection and stuff. That's gone the wayside. And besides, piracy is good for society because people are more cultured, make better product. It's like, what do you want to do? You want to live in a mind prison? Oh, I don't download those college books. I would just rather be stupid. I'm not going to download those med books. I'm not going to download those physics books. I'm not going to download those chemistry books. I'm gonna go work at like a little cafe and then buy what I can and what I can and what I can. I just won't get that. I won't be as smart as someone else. That's stupid. You choose to be in mind prison to dumb. That's why God played a joke on Lars Ulrich on Twitch, where he played that elevator music. Because like Lars Ulrich was against piracy because he's greedy. He just wants money. Anybody argues that piracy is bad are greedy individuals. They're just straight up greedy. And but like, because piracy is good for society. Like, I mean, even if you just listen to a bunch of music, say, oh, you listen to music, you're having fun. You should be paying money to have fun. No, check it out. If you listen to a bunch of music, what if you go around to mix music later? It would be good that you're cultured that way, and so we don't recycle all that bad stuff. You see on Idiocracy, how bad movies get when people are dumb. So let's make good product. Let's pirate stuff, and here you go, Windows. There you go. Decouple the frame from the process. We'll review what happens. Decouple the frame process. Okay, so I'm gonna change my code here. Mag force by 3. By 1. So we go here. We go here. And it's thinking. I can't go to it. I can't even alt tab to that, right? I can't alt tab. I can't get my thing. Oh, that's because these things. This Windows is coupled to the process inside. Linux doesn't have it. Macintosh doesn't do it. No one does it except Windows. Like the window control itself is tied to the process inside. That's number one. Decouple that. Number two, forced alt tab extreming option. We showed an example already. Like when you file copy, it'll just randomly choose a selection. I just chose something. I don't even know what I chose because I forced alt tab to it. And also, a lot of people are working. A lot of people do. I don't know. I'm a programmer. I work on Windows. I don't want these random systems alt tabbing on purpose. We went over the quarantine. How like you should be able to run a file in quarantine when you load up. It loads from like wherever it loads from, and then when it writes to. It writes to like downloaded file off the internet / location, like a virtual file system. It's called a sandbox. And then when you subsequently read, it subsequently read off of that. Okay, so it's easy to rook, either read, whatever. I'm not formatting this too hard. So it's just and then you obviously you got the special cases for quarantine. There's only about 3 special cases you have to worry about, and it's got macro, key logging, and password location. Boom. And then the beauty of it is if a virus shows, it's touching easily. And you know what else with the quarantine? You could probably just might want to do a quick virus scan before you run it. But you probably already do anyway. But anyway, there you go. That's a couple things for user interface of Windows. These are the major ones. If you fix this, you bring Windows up into like the 20th century. Yeah. Wait. 19th century. No, 21st century. You've got the good old right now it's the 1800s Windows. This is the Windows we got back when we invented the light bulb. All right. Hey, anyway, check it out, man. There you go. So 3 things, and obviously this sound thing. Come on, let's be able to let's not have to pick what can't we just play it out of all 3 of them? I mean, how hard would that be? I mean, why do I have to pick? All right. Whoever's out there, I have lots of user interfaces. Lots of companies are doing it wrong. Look, Google Ads is coming around. StarCraft map editor is gonna be around. I pick and choose a couple of different places. Oh yeah, League of Legends. I'm gonna definitely bust that. Their chops. They have about 50 bugs, and I'm gonna keep this out. The user interface guy. I don't know. I know people that know more about me than user interface, but it seems like big tech doesn't have a clue idea what they're doing in user interface. So I'm like the one-eyed king because everybody else is blind to user interface. All right, later guys.